Hey everybody, welcome back for this episode of The Vortex. I'm your host, Kathleen Pitt. I have an amazing guest here for you today. I found her on IG and I have no idea how, but I was like quickly sucked in because on her stories, and I don't know if you still do this, Anna, sorry, she would offer what's called the X box. And so people would put in like their ex's birth date and time, and she would do a soul contract reading for the exes. She did it for like celebrities. I was very quickly sucked into your page. I was stalking. I was like, oh my God, when's my opportunity for the Xbox? Wait, this is so addicting. And I watched your page over and over, and it was addictive. So, anyways, my guest today is Anna Rising. She is the owner and CEO of the Soul Ecosystem. And we're going to get into it, her specialty is soul contracts. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me, Kathleen. I'm really excited.
I'm
And
telling you, when I got on your page, oh my God, she posted again today? Beep, 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 like clicking on the stories. And then I would go back to your page. I thought you were like a 500,000, 1.5 million follower account. And then I realized like you were actually a like normal human, which we all are. And you were just getting this off the ground. And I was like, holy shit, like I don't think she understands how talented she is. Like your stuff is so addicting. So, how did you get started in this?
first of all, thank you very much. And yeah, it's really crazy. And I remember you telling me that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm glad that other people find this as exciting as I do. But I got started on this. I came across an Instagram account of this one lady that did the Soul Matrix. She called it the Soul Matrix, like she translated it as the Soul Matrix because it was all in Russian. But other people call this the Destiny Matrix. And I think that's how I've seen it on TikTok.
Hmm.
But it's a Russian modality. And I read Russian. I can
I was gonna
understand
say, like, my
Russian.
next question was like, do you speak Russian? Like, that's also
Yeah.
incredible.
I was born in Ukraine and immigrated here when I was 3. So I was raised in the language, and even though English is my first, like I'm much more comfortable talking in English, I can still read it. And I was sucked into it just like you because I'm like,
Yeah.
I have been looking for this my entire life. I'm like soul contracts. I resonated with that so deeply because I was always like, you know how people say like, oh, you chose this, you chose the parents that you have, you chose the life that you had
Yeah.
before
I
you
say it
incarnated.
all the time. It's
Yeah.
all I talk about.
I'm like, this makes so much sense. It makes so much sense that people have soul contracts, and I wish that there was a way that you can read them. And as soon as I saw what it was about, I'm like, all in. I bought the course. I bought my own soul contract. I
Yeah.
started going full on into this, and I started posting on my Instagram story all of the stuff that I was reading. I started like note taking like feverishly because, well, this is actually in my soul contract. I have this program called Burnout slash Flash,
Yeah.
and it essentially means that when you get really excited about something, you get unlimited energy. Like you can just
Yeah.
dive in and go without sleep, without eating, just be really excited about something and essentially be so enveloped into in it that like eventually you burn out, you crash out, and you're like, okay, I can't touch this anymore.
Yeah.
But
Has that
I
happened?
didn't.
Are you like burnt out in soul
No,
contract? Okay.
no.
Oh no. I was like,
I
oh no. So my favorite form of entertainment.
for the most part, like for most of the things I kind of get sucked into like that, for most of the things I get excited about, like vi video games, for instance, I can play it for a couple of days and then I get bored and then I drop it. But this has been my soul calling. This has been something that I have always been looking for. And once I found it, like the more I learned about it, I was just like, this is absolutely earth-shattering. I'm like, more
Yeah.
people need to know about this because it's not as widely known as it is in Russia. In Russia,
Yeah,
in
that's what I was
like
gonna ask is like I feel like in Ru like you're saying like oh in Russia and and I'm thinking like why like I mean, I'm pretty new to the psychic game. I'd say for the last year and a half, I've really just like exploded my gifts, but I still like have a pretty good handle on astrology, tarot, gene keys, human design. Like I learn. And when I asked you, I was like, well, what is it? You're like, oh, it's really hard. It's like this Russian system and cross country. I was like, what? Like this is an untapped freaking market.
It's really popular there, and I'm surprised that it hasn't really exploded here like it did there because there's different versions of it, different like extensions of it or translations of it there, but not like
Hmm.
language translation, but like different interpretations of it. So yeah, I started posting on my Instagram the stuff that I was reading, the programs that I was translating. I was translating it as I was going through it.
Hmm.
And people were like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is going
Yeah.
on?" They're like, "This seems so interesting." And I was like, I'm happy that other people are as excited about this as I was." And I instantly knew that there was something untapped there, like some potential untapped there. But interestingly enough, sorry, my mind is going faster than my mouth.
That's okay. I'm excited too. Keep going.
Interestingly enough, there is like this gap. Like once when I was reading the translation, the Russian version of it, I'm like, some of this does not really carry through to American culture. There's kind of like this cultural gap
Yeah,
because some of the beliefs and some of the societal standards that they have there is very different. So as I was translating it, I'm like, okay, I don't resonate with that. Like, and I didn't realize I was doing it. I was just
sure.
kind of intuitively like leaving that out. Let's not say that everybody has to have a child, everybody has to get married, everybody has
I
to do this
see.
and this
Yeah.
and this. So I started intuitively leaving that kind of stuff out. And then other like people were like, can you do my soul contract? Can you look
Yeah.
at this and that for me? And somewhere along the way, the Xbox was born. And essentially, the Xbox is like a quick snippet of a soul contract of an ex or a past relationship or husband or whoever you want to look into.
Yeah.
And it gets really scary how accurate it was. Like when I first saw my contract, I literally felt like somebody had been watching me my entire life and was
Yeah.
able to just carry over my energy onto these several pages. I was like scared. I'm like, I feel naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Very vulnerable.
yeah, so I was like, this is different. There's something deeper here that needs to be explored. So yeah, I made the Xbox. This is a very long-winded story of how the
No, I
Xbox
mean,
came to
I'm in
be,
it.
but I've I haven't
Are you
done
still
the
doing the
Xbox.
Xbox?
I haven't done it since I think January.
Yeah.
The
That's
months
okay. It's
between
probably really overwhelming. And two, it's like you also have to deal with like energetically clearing and like like if you have something like the Xbox, like there's a lot of people that maybe there's some like karmic ties that they're not quite dealing with too. So it's like it is a beautiful thing, but also you deserve to get paid for it, and that can be very messy. Like that can be a lot of drama attached to it. I am curious. I just want to go back to what you were saying, like how there's some things that you don't that didn't resonate with you, so you're intuitively leaving them out. Like the everyone has to have a child, everyone has to get married, that type of thing. Is that like a religious undertone? Because I just am thinking, like when you're saying that, I'm thinking of the
ooh,
Catholic faith. Like there's three vocations in the Catholic faith, like married to God, married to self, married to someone else. It's like you have to do that or whatever.
I am very familiar with religious programming, but this felt more like gender programming.
Oh, okay,
They
yeah.
were really big on the feminine and the masculine roles as well, which made
Mm,
it difficult for me to kind of carry over the masculine energy because they were so about, oh, the role of the wife is to have the children and be in the home. And it's like, uh,
yeah.
let's
For
not
who that
carry that
resonates with,
over.
that's so beautiful, but for those who it doesn't, it's like, okay, well, that's it feels very exclusive.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense to me because I'm like, you guys are talking about how important it is to not box yourselves in, but then like essentially you're saying by the time you reach the age 40, you should have established a family of your own and stuff like that. So yeah, th those kind of stuff I had to leave out because
Yeah,
that
so
didn't
now you're
resonate
just
with me.
creating like your own method.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
so exciting. And like, I think, okay, so I talk about this a lot, like your soul contracts and agreements, because I know, like, I have soul clients. Like, I knew you were one of my soul clients. I knew these people were like, whoever it was, like, I just knew these people are always meant to work with me. And so, like, I'll go through Instagram and I'll be like, oh, add, or oh, comment, or whatever, because I know that we have soul contracts and agreements. I just know that. And then it does provide like some type of explanation of like why you're going through the things that you're going through or why you had to go through all those things in your past so then you can
yeah.
transmute that pain into your power and then show up as the leader that you are in the way that you need to. So like intuitively, I've always known there's soul contracts too, but like I agree. When you get down and dirty, when I see your transcriptions like of your soul contracts, whether it be with exes or I have your Instagram pulled up right now. You got Snoop Dogg's soul contract on there, Princess Diana, Matt Healy, Kim Kardashian. Like they are
Oof.
scary freaking accurate. You know what I mean? It's like insane to see it. And then yeah, of course, like I was like, what is this system? Like that's just it's very, very cool.
Yeah, and it's really empowering, which is part of the reason I felt so drawn to it. It's really empowering to believe that you chose this specific path for a reason to evolve yourself. Like it feels so less cruel, I want to say,
Sure.
to to think of life being designed by you, by your soul, because you're highly intelligent, you know what you're capable of, you know your limitations, and it doesn't just feel like things are always happening to you and you're just being thrown through a roller coaster and like you have to deal with it.
Yeah, it like really shifts the power back to you. So like I really resonate with the gene keys, right? Because gene keys for me, you can like also oscillate between different frequencies and like some of them are for money and some of them are your life's work and some of them are like how you feel you're healthiest, etc. But it's like to know that like you have a purpose, you have a plan that you've already signed, and that really will shift it back from to me consciousness, which I talk about a lot, into that power as a creator of as me consciousness, like as the creator of my life, as the person here to take radical responsibility for what I've
Mm,
chosen to do and accomplish in this lifetime. What does that look like for me? Because that is everyone's biggest question, right? It's like, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? What am I, whatever. And like, guys, if you're listening, a great place to start is your soul contract with Anna Rising on the soul ecosystem, because that is like such like a template. Like it's literally like a template written out of like, this is what you're here, this is what you're here to experience. And if you're reading that part, you're probably like, okay, check. Like I've experienced that. And then this is what you're supposed to do with it. And like you've already decided. It's like, okay, now I have a freaking plan that I can follow and move forward. That like takes 50% of the work out for you.
that's exactly what happens when people get their soul contracts. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember going through this when I was a teenager, or oh, I remember already having learned this lesson. So there's like this, I feel like that was you picking up on it intuitively. You're like, oh, I know that I'm going to be looking at my soul contract and being like, okay, I went through this already.
Yeah. And I think like for me, like that work pops up often, I guess, in the spiritual community. Like Gene Keys talks in it a lot. Um, Sometimes human design talks about it a lot in your lines, but the soul contract is like a one and done. Like for me, that's what it feels like. It's like a one and done of like, this is what you went through, this is where you're going. Oh, wow, there it is. That's like 50% of the path.
It's a so soul contracts, that modality itself is a combination of Jewish mysticism, tarology, numerology, and astrology. And I don't know a lot about astrology, but I do see the influences there in it.
Mhm.
But mostly it's numerology and reading the energy of the numbers.
Mm,
So yeah, it's very much not so like one and done. I want to be very careful not to tell people that, oh, like if you read your soul contract, this is what you're going to be going through 100%. Soul contracts are
yeah.
always amendable.
Hmm.
And I often have clients that like see that they have a certain program that's especially difficult or traumatic. And they're like, oh my God, like they start getting scared. They're like, I have
Yeah.
this, I'm going to be going through something traumatic if I haven't already. And it's really up to the person, especially. the side effects of some of the subconscious programs,
Mm-hmm.
you always have the choice whether you are going to be operating from the light, operating from the positive, or operating from the negative. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you're operating from the negative, there are side effects in some programs more extreme than others that are significantly difficult.
Sure.
But the polar opposite, like the opposite side of that, the positive side is so like it's just as extreme.
Yeah.
It's just as powerful and just as strong. So a lot of people see the negative and they're like, oh my God, like they
Fuck.
start
Yeah.
freaking out. But it's like, no, you can also be operating from this insane gift, this insane talent perspective.
Yeah. And I find that too, like with my clients, it's almost like the harder their life has been, like the more shadow that we have to go through
Yes.
and the subconscious work that we have to embody. And it's like, and they are the ones with the biggest dreams, like the highest sights. And it's like, okay, you are not separate from that. Like that is you. We just have to get through all this. And it like I do feel like for those people that have those extremes, it feels impossible. I know it does. And I know that them working with me or whatever work they've done with you or in the past, it's like, okay, I'm willing to bet on myself, but golly, this is really tough. But the most extreme, like dire situation is also setting you up for the most powerful, potent joy and happiness as well.
That checks out in soul contracts 110%.
Really?
The biggest household names that you can think of, the celebrities that are known all across the world,
Hmm.
the program that I always find, I'm not going to say always, but 80% of the time, the program that I find in their charts is a program where they had to get rid of this imposter syndrome. Like, oh, who, me? No, I couldn't possibly. And they pass up roles or they pass up opportunities. This is a
Yeah.
program that manifests that way, where a person's afraid to take up space, afraid to stand up and be like, you know what, take a shot on me.
Sure.
They
Yeah.
manage to flip that and become worldwide, like world known.
Yeah, world renowned. Because it's like if you can do that, like if you can step into your power or like really transmute that pain into power, I mean, the what is it? The benefits that you reap are just like astronomical. And I always have found that. I always found my clients that have had the deepest, deepest shadows to have the biggest, biggest aspirations. And it's like, okay, let's fucking get you there. Like I can't wait to watch
A
you go.
100%. Do you pick up on like the potential of clients at all as like you're reading their energy? Do you feel like the heights that they can reach?
That's an interesting question. I want to make sure I answer it carefully because yes, but I don't think that any level of height, fame, or wealth is better than another because for if it is the highest for them, then that is the highest, right? But I
Hmm.
do I do like okay, for example, I have two imaginary clients. Um, they're not imaginary. Okay, I outed myself. They're not imaginary. They're real clients. I'm not going to give you their names. But like one of them's like her highest aspiration is to have an urban homestead and to like have this beautiful farm. And that fills
Hmm.
her with so much joy and so much gratitude and so much love. And then I had another one that's like her greatest aspiration, her highest timeline that she can envision for herself is to like be in cahoots with like all the presidents of South America because she's running a marine like conservation wildlife fund and she is the donor for it. Like they go to her to make national decisions because she is there and available for the conservation of marine life. So it's like that also fills her with so much joy, so much gratitude, so much everything, right? So it's like do I see that? Yes. But the joy, the gratitude, and the happiness at the end is equal. So like it's not about like the tiered success or like are they Kim Kardashian or are they
Hmm.
like a D-list celebrity? It's like their happiness, their joy, and their gratitude is still that very potent amount. But I do see that like when I'm talking to somebody about their energy of like what's your dream life? And there's like, oh, I'm like, okay, like we got some work to do.
Yeah, I love that soul contracts don't feel limiting like that. Like they don't limit you to like, oh, you can only be this and this. Like if you guys are looking for soul contracts to say you are meant to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, it's not going to like specifically tell you
Right.
what kind of profession you're best suited for. It's going to give you like a general idea if you'd be a good public speaker, if you'd be a good like journalist or media type of worker, but it really leaves room for the person to be authentically themselves and emerge as their authentic self. But the reason I asked about the potential thing is because when I was looking at celeb soul contracts and then looking at my client contracts, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this person has this talent and that's the same as this celebrity. And it started like, it kind of brought celebs down to a human level for a
Sure.
second. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like we all have the capability to go for our dreams, to reach our dreams like these people have.
yeah.
And it just humanized it and made me so excited because I'm like, you guys have no idea what you could reach if you just believed in yourself enough to do it.
Yeah. I think and you can, I'm willing to hear your thoughts on this. Like I think people do know. Like I think they have to know. Like I know, like I knew. I've known you play piano, I play piano, right? I sing. I'm not sure if you sing, but like I've known since I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I was like, I'm gonna be on stages. I'm gonna be on stages. I just know it.
I feel like it gets beat out of you. I feel
Of
like the
course.
world beats it out of you to a point where I had the hardest time figuring out what I wanted to do with my life for the longest time because there's so many voices, there's so many people telling you what you should pursue and what you shouldn't pursue, what's dangerous, what's good, that it by the time you grow up, you don't remember.
Yeah, agree. I mean, I agree. I think like of course, like that is so true. It is beat out of you. And it's like, but that almost plays into more of the soul contract dynamic, right? It's like I have like, okay, I'll just use myself as an example, right? Like I had to go through my mom telling me like, be safe, be calm, be this, don't do too much. Like, they
Hmm.
having my money stolen from me as I was a teenager, like having working 3 jobs and like going and like not having anything of my own, putting myself through college, putting myself through my master's program. Like I had to go through all this where it was like the world is going to beat you down, work hard, keep your nose down, don't make a
Hmm.
fuss, like you're going to be okay. And I fucking did that and it sucked. Like it sucked. I had everything and it sucked. And then it was like, of course, like I'm not going to reiterate my story, but it was like I heard like language and it was like, boom. I'm meant to be seen and heard in a big way. And so what I do is like a lot of people don't have that boom moment like I
Yeah.
did. And so it's like, we're actually going to do this a little bit like more calmly, insidiously. Like, what did you used to do when you were a kid? Did you used to dance? Go dance. Did you used to play piano? Go play piano. Like, you're going to feel really fucking weird doing it because you haven't done anything for the sake of your own joy, creativity, and pleasure in so long that all of that is going to feel wildly uncomfortable. But you have to start there so that you can then begin to like bubble it up out of you.
I feel like life on purpose makes you uncomfortable enough that you have to kind of hit that rock bottom for yourself
For sure.
and be like, okay, like I have done everything the right way. I have done everything that I was told to do, and I am absolutely miserable
Yeah.
to kind of have the courage to follow what it is that your heart wants to do. And that took me a long time personally to figure out, but like now as I'm thinking about it, um, like I remember even as a little kid watching That's So Raven at my
Yeah.
grandparents' house and like going outside and praying to God that he makes me psychic. I was like,
Please,
I
God.
don't know why. I don't know why I wanted to be psychic so bad. Maybe it's like a control thing. You want to know the future, but yeah.
Maybe, or maybe you've always known you were like I mean, I believe everyone is psychic, like, right? We all have tapped into those abilities. So it's like, I've always known that about myself.
Mm.
You've always known that about yourself, right? And so it's like, I've always known that about myself. And so I'm going to pray to God because God was like this acceptable religious figure that I could talk to about my dreams without making anybody else uncomfortable. And you probably have always known on some level that you were,
And that's why I'm so scared. I feel like we need to like just leave children be and not like keep telling them what to believe or what to think and like let them decide for
for sure.
themselves because I feel like the more they're taught, oh, there's a God in the sky and there's a heaven in there, there's a hell, like it takes them away from their intuition. It takes them away from free thinking and the ability to formulate their own opinions about the universe
Yeah.
and disconnects them from that.
Yeah. I feel like this comes up in like all my podcasts, which I love. Do you have kids?
Yeah,
Okay,
three.
so I do too, and like I agree, and I do my best to be hands off, but they keep asking me like when you die and how old do you have to be when you die, and then where do they bury the bodies, and like they're asking me to like drive them to cemeteries, and then like my grandfather, God love him, he's like 96, and they're like, why isn't he dead yet? I'm like, guys, stop, like
You
like
can't ask him that.
I can't, don't say that. So it's like, yes, I totally agree, but I'm also struggling to find the vocabulary to like get it because they don't like, they're not, I'm like, you're an intuitive being with energetic centers, ready to be in flow. They're like, is he dead
Mhm.
yet? You know, like,
They don't, yeah.
how
My
do I
kids
teach
too,
him?
they don't have the attention span for that. They want the quick and easy answer.
Yeah. Without
Yeah,
like scaring them into my bed all night, every night. So it's an interesting rope to walk as a mom for
it
sure.
is. It's very difficult.
So I'm curious, like, what is your most, I would say, interesting soul contract you've looked at?
Oh, define interesting.
I don't know. I guess one that like surprised you the most.
As soon as you, excuse me, as soon as you brought up that I have Matt Healy's chart on my Instagram,
Yeah.
I remember going through his chart and just being like, oh my God. Like I was very blown away by it because I've never seen, I usually work with people that are spiritual. I work with people that are high vibrational. So I often see very positive programs, people or souls that chose to incarnate to evolve. And then when I took a look at his soul contract, I was like, this is a bad time. This was very toxic. And I think that when I looked at it, Taylor Swift's newest album just came out, and I was like,
Hmm.
this makes so much sense if all of these songs are about him because he must have done a number on her.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to go to my Instagram and take a look at what I said about his chart, that's up there, and that was kind of a twist. It was kind of shocking. But Ted Bundy's stands out to me a lot, as well
You
as
did Ted Bundy's?
yeah.
Nice.
I was going to do an episode. I think I did do one of serial killers. And
Oh,
then I
because
was
you have a
like,
podcast too,
I'm,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
What's your
was like, I'm
podcast called?
never the
Sorry, keep
soul
going.
ecosystem.
Got it.
Sorry.
You're okay. Keep going.
And I don't know, maybe I wanted to do like other episodes, like exploring more serial killers or people that have done heinous things. But after that episode, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. It was very difficult just to not tune into their energy as you're doing it.
Sure. Yeah.
And it wasn't fun. But
Because in some
I'm
way too, like those soul contracts, like of the dark, like I believe, and sorry if this contradict, I'm not really that sorry if it contraindicates what you believe, or not you, but the listeners. Um, I believe like everyone's incarnated for a purpose. So in some
mhm.
way, even those dark, dark charts, like they are to drive humanity forward. Even though those terrible things happen to those people, I'm in no way saying that like they deserve that. I think on some level there's a soul contract there as well, but like in some way, like it is to propel humanity forward in whatever way that is. Like I lock my door more, I'll tell you that.
That's I definitely agree with that. And that's part of what bothered me about looking into some of these people. I'm like, some of their charts looked so normal and it didn't make sense to me because I'm like, okay, like where did it go wrong? I'm like, I was looking for some kind of explanation to understand how a person could just go so far into the dark. But I also looked at my ex's soul contract and I'm like, okay, this is totally not somebody I know. But again, it's it's like the template, it's like the blueprint, the soul contract, and it's up to the person
Right.
how far, like how extremely off path they want to go and how far into the negative they want to go or how far into the positive they want to go. And this is something I get asked a lot, but people ask if it's possible to change soul contracts. And I do think that you can like change certain things that you want to experience in your incarnation, but it has to be like agreed upon with your soul and the higher powers. But yeah,
Or maybe like not even like change because I feel like you can't. And again, I'm not the expert, so I'm just riffing here. But I feel like you can, but I also feel like you can not honor it, and then that is a karmic debt that needs to be paid in another lifetime, maybe.
it's definitely going to come over. It's going to carry over into your next lifetime. But I did have a client that chose to end her incarnation
Mm.
uh, in like the soul chose to end the incarnation without the body passing away. There was a kind of a step
Mm.
in soul come in, and this client was like, "It feels like I'm a different person. It feels like I'm not me anymore." And I discovered that the trauma of what she went through was too much for her. Like when you're up in the
Mm.
ethers and you're making the soul contracts, it's very easy to be like, "Oh yeah, I can handle this happening to me."
Yeah.
But once it's happening in the physical, in the dense realm that the earth is, it's a whole different ballgame.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, our physical senses are so intense in a way that like we don't understand when we're in a different dimension or in our soul dimension, right? Like the whole point for me, like the whole point of being here is to experience those physical senses, to fuck, play, laugh, joy, eat, like all those things that we don't do as souls or as like celestial beings. So yeah, that would make sense that if you're like, yeah, 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 I can do that, and you get down here like, shit, this sucks. I don't want to
I
do
feel
this
like, yeah,
anymore.
I feel like if you can get overwhelmed pretty easily. So when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, like I guess there's an option to kind of opt out and be like, cancel subscription,
Yeah, yeah.
like
I
not
changed my
doing
mind. I changed
this.
my mind. I like to do something completely different. Yeah.
But yeah, you're 100% right that karma carries over because you still need to learn those lessons to evolve your soul. You choose to go through what you go through in order to get something out of it. So
Hmm.
you're 100% right that next incarnation, she's going to have to repeat that same cycle.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're going to rewire her contracts in order to make sure that she has an easier time kind of getting
Going
past
through
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and two, I've had like past life, intuitive sessions, I guess you could say, where me and some friends like riff off each other. It's like so like the sometimes the message that comes through, it's like, okay, I think we got it right this time. So like even if the contracts are the same and you go through like a karmic reincarnation, like say my soul contract says like, oh, I'm supposed to be an advocate for women and like be really seen and heard as a woman and whatever, and then I'm born in like the Renaissance period or something like where women have no rights or like, just put them in a bag and shove them in the closet.
Uphill
Like it's
battle.
like,
Yeah.
yikes, we got that wrong. Like let's put her into another like place where she's actually able to use her voice and be seen and heard. Like that could be like, oh, we got the contracts right, but like the pain of that is too great for her to fulfill and drive humanity forward. So let's put her in another timeline or like another space. And then of course I also believe that with the quantum, like everything's happening simultaneously all at once. So
Hmm.
even like that too gets a little tricky of like how do you logically explain reincarnation and soul contracts if you're jumping timelines too. But
Yeah, 100%. It's all happening at the same time. I also believe that. Um, oh my gosh, I just missed it.
what your thought?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you were
that's a
saying something about the Renaissance Festival. Sorry, not Renaissance Festival.
Renaissance period.
Renaissance
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like those timelines. That's that for me. I definitely reincarnated a lot there because that always comes up for me. Or like not maybe not Renaissance, but pre-Renaissance, so medieval. Like that's huge for me. Like I definitely have spent a lot of time there. So it's always so interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I remembered what I was going to say. I was going to say
okay.
I've learned through all of this soul contract work that there's a whole lot of pressure that we put on ourselves that just doesn't exist from the spiritual standpoint. So
Yeah.
like if we feel like this is too much and then we put the pressure like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have to repeat that cycle again in another life. That doesn't happen spiritually. our guides and our ancestors are cheering us on our entire way through. Like
Sure, yeah.
some of us have had lineages where there has been so much misogyny. There has been so much struggles from the maternal line that
Yeah.
you have to be the cycle breaker. You have to be
Yeah.
the person that cures, like not cures, that gets rid of all of the generational curses, right? It's it's a lot. And they know the path. They know how hard it is because they've walked it. Your
Hmm.
ancestors have walked it. They know how hard it is to clear. So there's no pressure to get everything in one incarnation. There's no pressure for you to be like learning all the lessons so you can ascend. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a lot more leniency, a lot more grace. And I I was very like like big sigh of relief when I heard that because I'm a like no, I'm not a Virgo. I'm a Virgo rising and a Virgo moon, and I
Mm,
always
okay.
kind of want to like get everything done as fast as possible. Like I'll go
Right.
through all of the BS, I'll go through all of the pain now so I don't have to feel it later, but it's very much at a slow pace and they want you to take your time with it and not take on so much in one incarnation that is so difficult and so traumatic
Yeah.
that you're too exhausted to do the next one.
To do the work. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, have fun. Like if we're here to have fun. Like we're here to play. We're here to do all the things that bring humans joy. Like that's literally what we're here to do, like with your contract in your pocket. Yeah. What's your sun sign?
Gemini.
Cool. I'm Virgo, sun, lots of Leo. I only have one Virgo placement as my sun. Everything else is like Leo and Capricorn. It's
Leo
so
makes sense. Leo makes sense.
Yeah, I know the hair. It's the it's what you're gonna do. Oh, it's so wild. Okay, we got to wrap up here. I could talk to you forever. So, what is the craziest thing from your soul contract that you were like, whoa?
From my soul contract. Um, I have this one program in my soul contract that is a program of uniting people. And this was
Mm,
like a big whoa program for me because everything that I've experienced from like as a child to now kind of fit together. Like it all came together in a puzzle because I was like, okay, this makes so much sense. Why I've always had this desire to speak to people and
mhm,
I didn't know where it was coming from. But this program specifically is about bringing people together for a common cause and I come across it a lot. It's not necessarily rare, but it's for the people. I wouldn't be surprised if you have it. It's for the people that specifically need to get out a message. They need to share something with the world
mm.
and they shouldn't be quiet about it.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that it was really interesting that the majority of my life, I was very much told to be quiet. I was raised in a very religious household. I was very, very silenced. And I feel like that's a wound that people that need to speak up have to kind of overcome for some reason.
Yeah, I agree. I had it, for sure. Like, and it's not even like in your voice too. Like, yes, it's the voice, it's the message, your throat chakra, it's all that, but it's also even like in your clothes. It's in like how you present yourself. It's in your posture. It's in like all the things that you do to make yourself smaller and
Smaller.
not seen,
Mhm.
because being seen and heard is like tough. I'm still working through it, girl. I'd be working on that every session with my mentor, and she's like, "You ready to be seen today?" And I'm like, not yet. She's like, everybody's seeing you. I don't know what you're hiding from.
Yeah, if I went back in time and told the Anna 10 years ago that I'd be doing podcasts and I'd be talking to people and I'd be going on other podcasts, I would like sink through the floor, right? I'd be like, no way, we're not going to do that because I was absolutely terrified. I was absolutely terrified to use my voice to speak out
Yeah.
because there's a lot of responsibility when you want to teach other people things like that. And I take that very seriously. I'm very careful with what I say because I don't want to limit people the way that I've been limited, if that makes
Sure.
sense. Like
Hmm.
put people in boxes the way that I've been put in a box
Yeah.
my whole life. But yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I know a lot of my audience will too. I talk about that box a lot of like you were just put in a box and you were never meant to be there, right? Like you were meant to be, you were born limitless, you were born worthy, you were born unlimited. It's all the other shit and all the other programming that keeps us small, puts us smaller and a smaller and smaller box until we feel like we can't get out. But it's like even that, like even as you're saying that, all I'm thinking and remembering is that I'm seeing like a line graph, right? And it's like your wound has to be so big because your message is so powerful. So it's like the healing that has to be done around the wound so you can transmute that pain to power. It has to be so big so that when that message gets out, it's like I'm safe, I'm heard, I'm seen in a big and expansive way.
Yeah,
It's
there
just
has
so
to be
good.
like a correlative opposite kind of. I'm sure there's a physics explain word for it. I forget, but yeah.
Inversion, I don't know. Contrast, whatever ratio. Oh my gosh, this has been so fun. I feel like we could just have a series. We're just like, okay, let's discuss this soul contract. But you have that because you have the soul what is it, the soul
The Soul
ecosystem?
Ecosystem podcast. Yes,
Okay,
I regularly do soul contracts for celebs or famous people or historical figures. And
nice.
speaking of historical figures, looking into historical figures like Jane Austen was very
Mm,
shocking to me looking into her contract because I'm like, she was born way too long ago. This is not going to apply to her. But
yeah, it did.
it was spot on. She has the program that means that she's going to be a great writer. Emily Bronte's soul contract was a mess. It was one of
Nice.
the most chaotic. It was one of the most chaotic soul contracts that I've come across. So yeah, I feel like I would need like an entire episode just to talk about all of the soul contracts that I've looked into. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
you
I
need
wanted
to,
to
I would love
mention
to see an
those.
episode on your podcast of because I'm like obsessed with this musical. Sorry for everybody, but if you're not obsessed with this, but Alexander Hamilton and
Mm,
Lin-Manuel Miranda, I want to see them side by side. Okay, there's got to be so many similarities
connection
there. Like,
there.
oh
That's
my
very
gosh.
interesting.
I'm going to go. I saw it in Broadway, and then I'm going to go see it again soon. So my husband and I watched it. I was like, and he wrote the whole thing, and he's not throwing away his shot. And Alexander Hamilton, my husband's like, I know. So he
I
was
was
little
crossing
side
my
by side.
fingers. I was crossing my fingers for a second because as soon as you said musical, I'm like, oh my God, Wicked. Because Wicked just came out and I had done a Wicked episode where I looked at soul contracts for Ariana Grande and Cynthia
Irvo, yeah.
Irvio. So, but
Sorry, everybody.
yeah, Hamilton.
Do Hamilton. That'd be a
I'll
good. You
do
should do it
Hamilton.
like, oh, we're gonna get out of here. We'll talk more. Okay. For everybody who wants to check this out, because I know you do, her Instagram's always popping. She's the Soul Ecosystem on Instagram. She has her own podcast, the Soul Ecosystem podcast with Anna Rising. I'm gonna have all of her other links. Of course, her Etsy shop where you can get your own soul contract done by her. I'll have these linked all in the show notes. And yeah, we'll probably do a part two. Okay, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for coming on the Vortex.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody.